Okay, so those two basic concepts behind information structure that are allowed us to move forward into it. One is the idea of modeling, and the other is the idea of the modeling environment, and we've chosen XML as our modeling environment. So what did we do? Where did we go with these structure basics? Well, what we've done so far in your learning is I've tried to give you good definitions and mental models of what these concepts are. For example, the difference between a hierarchy and an index, an association and a sequence. And I've tried to give you the basic tools for working through them. So I've tried to give you sort of an overview of all the different ways that I can think of that these, not all of them, but enough of them so that you get a feeling for how these different access structures and information types can be modeled and represented. And some drill-like exercises for working through things like a recursive hierarchy, or working through things like a keyword index, or an ini sequence, and all those different inis and outies, and comparing information types and linking information types to these different access structures. That's all by way of giving you a basis, a foundation, a way of beginning to work through these items. I want you to have the concept, but I also want you to have the tools, and I want you to begin to build the skills to work with the concepts in an environment where you can actually make something happen. And that's really been the focus of this basics section. The basics section of this material is really about building the skills in modeling, and building the skills in the markup tools, so that you well, let's put it three things. Building the concepts themselves, building the modeling skills so that you can translate those concepts into a specific model, and then building the markup tools so that you can then implement that model and see it work in the real world. That's been the point. So where do we go from here? Now that hopefully you have those basic skills, what can you do with those basic skills, and where would you go to sharpen those basic skills? Well, it's time now that we're at the end of the basics module to start talking about real-life implementations, real-life uses of these access structures and information types that'll allow you to do things that you will want to do in life. And so, for example, we've been talking about one access structure and one information type rendered to be one web page. Well, of course, that's not a realistic scenario. We have multiple web pages that are rendered. We've been talking about single access structures, single information types. That's not a realistic scenario. In real life, we have multiple access structures and multiple information types all working simultaneously, all combining to create a system. We've talked about simple access structures that are pure plays, let's say, a pure hierarchy, or a pure index, or a pure association. And of course, in real life, those things are mixed, and we have aspects of all of them. We have all sorts of commonly found information or navigational widgets that we can study. For example, faceted classifications and thesauri, and RSS and tag clouds and social tagging, and all these different things that you find on the web, that now that you have these basic ideas of the different access structures, we can analyze and we can study. And of course, what we want to do overall is build your analysis skills so that you can not only reverse engineer and take apart information, but you can also put it back together again. So there's a long way to go still in the learning beyond the basics. What you have now, I hope, is a foundation, a way of thinking about information, a way of understanding how to model information, a way of presenting the basic structures on a web page. And now it's time to move forward and start to translate those skills into more robust representations of information, and getting closer and closer to the kinds of techniques and skills that you would use in production systems. Thanks for waiting, guys.